we're a new band that happens to have an old catalog that you love. 10th Avenue North has been through a lot of iterations. Change is inevitable, especially because we said we don't want anyone to sacrifice their family on the altar of the band. So when my drummer, Jason, in 2017, he said, hey, my oldest daughter's about to start middle school. I always said when she starts middle school, I'm not going to tour anymore. And we had our most successful song of our career just at that time. And we said, okay, you know. And when he decided to retire, that was sort of the beginning of me thinking maybe I'm supposed to retire now. And then my wife came to me and said, we have 4 daughters now, I need you home. So it was a no-brainer, very painful no-brainer, but we're like, all right, I'm retiring. And thought it was going to be a hiatus, but then all my bandmates at the time said, yeah, we actually want to retire too. I went, oh, okay, I guess the band's over. So what convinced me to bring it back was multifaceted. The biggest being my wife saying, I'm ready for you to tour again. The second being my old bandmates saying, we're totally cool if you want to bring the band back. In fact, why haven't you brought the band back? Third would be artists and mentors and friends all saying, so why aren't you doing 10th Avenue North? And then lastly, I said, I feel like I need God himself to drop certain people into this. And Thomas and Monty and Peyton, all in their own ways, felt like God is going, here you go, here you go, here you go. And I feel like it's better than ever. And all that combined feels like God saying, yes, this is the way, walk in it.
There was a little bit of anxiousness of like, okay, there's new people joining this band. People are very familiar with 10th and the sound of 10th and different things. And we're like, we really want to honor and respect what the listenership has heard before. But at the same time, like, we know that this is kind of a new movement for 10th and a new chapter for 10th. And it's obviously new people other than Mike. So it's going to sound a little bit different because we'll want to bring some of our sound and our playing styles into it. But yeah, we really want to maintain the respect and the history that 10th has had, but also bring a new flair. So that's kind of what we're discovering right now with new songs that we're releasing and writing. And yeah, Monty, did you have something with that?
Yeah, Mike could have said like, oh, I've been in this band for like 20 years and this is how we're gonna do things. But he's been really generous and like, no, I want you to bring you who you are. And I feel like that's a reality, even in like past iterations of the band and past members. It's like, of course 10th has evolved. It's because Mike is a person that has allowed everybody that has come into the band to sort of like bring their own flair, their own element.
My hope would be that we're a new band that happens to have an old catalog that you love. Because some people, you know, of course will accuse you of, oh, you're just bringing 10th Ave back because it's easy. I go, it actually is way harder than if I just was Mike Donehey out with an acoustic guitar.
That's very true.
It's harder on so many levels, but I'm hoping people hear the new music and go, oh, I see why, because this is next level.
Being able to experience, you know, and reading comments and reading messages that people reach out, just like, you guys don't know, like to Mike especially, like, you don't know how many times these songs have just either pulled them out of a dark place or even saved their lives. A lot of people had, you know, contemplated a lot of things and it pulled them out of just crazy places. So it's really cool to experience that just directly, you know.
I feel like God just uses this music that we're making, especially in this album. There's so much, it's like, this is something, the album is called Learning to Trust. And I feel like, I was meditating on that, and I feel like all of us involved in making this album had to learn to trust God in one way or another while we were in this process. It was so challenging. We were all going through like personal things in our lives, and it's like just this song. It's like Mike was saying. It's like just God just uses God. Like we can just show up for it, but God just breathes life into the songs to even carry us through seasons of like hardship, you know. And it's like I feel like that's the difference for me. It's like the breath of life that God gives it to bless others. And yeah, I don't get tired of like hearing the testimonies, and we have personal testimonies making these records about these songs. Like I cannot wait to see what it's gonna do when it's out, you know.
The best way I can say it is Psalm 49:4. David says, I incline my ear to wisdom, and with the music of the lyre I will solve my riddle. And I think that's what the great songs that speak God's truth do, is when the music is incredible, that's the wider doorway it opens. And then if you can speak things that you yourself have riddled through and wrestled through, and you don't just regurgitate an answer, man, those are like arrows that can go in, and they're healing arrows, you know. So that's the goal. If I'm not ministering to my family, and then I'm not ministering to the security guard and the tech crew and the guys, you know, throwing cables, and then the fans, you know, it's kind of like you think of it as concentric circles. And so to be making music that I feel is blessing us and our families. I mean, I wrote this one song for my daughter that Ren Collective is going to feature on, that she was having panic attacks. She has OCD, and she went through this horribly dark season having these terrible panic attacks. And I wrote this song for her, and then I play her the song, and the bridge says, I can't even talk about it without crying. It says, when you're overwhelmed, I have overcome. That's from Jesus. And then I catch her folding her laundry, you know, singing it to herself, you know. And I just go, this is it. This is why I started writing songs. It wasn't to top charts. It wasn't to win awards. It was because I wanted to bless the people I was playing for, and I wanted to know God better through songwriting. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're doing that. So